Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to something a little different. In my normal review videos, I try to remain objective and give you a thorough overview of the game regardless of my own personal preferences. This video, however, is about exactly that. These are my favorite top 5 Gear VR games of 2016. To be considered for this list, the game had to be released in 2016 and I had to play it. Not everything on the list got a review video because there's only so many hours in a week and new games are always being released, so one or two on this list might be a surprise. Also, if the game isn't mentioned on this list, it doesn't mean it's a bad game or not worth your time. These 5 are simply the games that I kept going back to again and again. So, without further ado, and in no particular order or ranking, here's Guy's top 5 Gear VR games of 2016. Number 1. Wands. This shouldn't come as any surprise to those who saw the review. With impressive graphics and detailed sound design, the universe of Wands is both incredibly convincing and highly atmospheric. It's online multiplayer only, which made things a little lonely at launch, but since then the community has grown substantially, and you can almost always find somebody to duel regardless of the time of day. With 16 different offensive and defensive spells to master, plus counter and combination strategies, Wands is more than just a fragfest. It's an unexpectedly deep and tactical game where positioning, timing, and resource management combine into a true masterpiece. Wands recently got a massive update that changed the hall stage, vastly improved the user interface, and added a global leaderboard among other things. If you own a Gear VR, you need to be playing Wands. Number 2. Endspace. Endspace was released in April this year and is still vastly impressive to play. The highly polished graphics and cockpit design create what I think is still the most immersive experience on the Gear VR. The missions range from patrol to support to assault, and you use your earnings from completing missions to unlock further missions as well as upgrade your guns and missiles. Developer support for this game has been nothing short of amazing, especially considering it was created almost entirely by one man. Since launch, there have been several patches to fix and add controller support, touchpad controls, and overhaul the graphics. The developer is also in the process of adding multiplayer support and bringing the game to the Daydream, Vive, Rift, and PSVR platforms. For the best flight combat experience on the Gear VR, look no further than Endspace. Number 3. Minecraft. Yep, Minecraft. I know it originally came out several years ago, but it was released for Gear VR only in April of this year. I didn't review it because, well, it's Minecraft and there's really nothing more that needs to be said. On the Gear VR, this game is just as addictive in both survival and creative modes, but now you have the option to really be part of that world. The world is just as blocky as ever, but that doesn't hurt the sense of presence at all. I've spent hours in this version of Minecraft and will likely spend many hours more. The viewing distance is a little short in VR, but that won't stop you from exploring and building in this beautiful and dangerous world. Minecraft feels like it was made for VR. Number 4. Drop Dead. Released just in time for Halloween, Drop Dead is a shining example of what a AAA title looks like on the Gear VR. It's a rail shooter with a definite House of the Dead feel, but it succeeds on its own merit. Graphics are colorful, fluid, and just gory enough to remind you that you're in a zombie game. The music, sound effects, and voice acting are all top-notch, and the story is actually something I would still like to see resolved. There's online leaderboards for each level so you can compare your shooting skills against the world, and online multiplayer too. Plus, there's still more single-player DLC coming in the form of 2 more timelines with new weapons and items. Drop Dead is a complete and polished title of the highest quality on the Gear VR. Number 5. Vendetta Online. Vendetta Online is a spacefaring MMORPG and has been around for many years, but just this October was released on the Gear VR. As a space combat game, it doesn't produce quite the same sense of presence as Endspace, but it does something else. You start off by choosing one of 3 factions and start training. There's a long, steep learning curve and loads of menus and text, but if you're willing to slog through that, you'll have access to a massive persistent universe where you choose your own missions, make money, and buy and upgrade ships. You choose from combat, trade, courier, and mining missions, as well as PvP dueling. The graphics aren't as good as Endspace, but the game is absolutely huge. For $2.99, this game has a crazy playtime to price ratio, and it's still the only MMORPG on the Gear VR. So that's my top 5 Gear VR games of 2016. But now I want to hear what you think. What are your top 5 Gear VR games released this year? They don't even have to be games. If there was a particularly amazing educational experience or video, let us know. Post your top 5 list in the comments. I love reading about which games you thought were greatest and why. I'll be back in 2017 with new content every week, starting with a subscriber request, and as always, remember to like and subscribe if you want to keep seeing more of these videos. A big thank you to everybody who's watched my videos, and an extra big thank you to all my subscribers for your support. Thanks for watching, and here's to an exciting new year in mobile VR.